A Japanese woman, after enduring long-term domestic violence from her middle-aged son, reluctantly sought help from a public health center. Unexpectedly, this plea for assistance led staff to discover a girl who had been imprisoned for 10 years in the man's room. When found, the girl was emaciated, weighing less than 38 kilograms, her body emitting a foul odor and covered in visible scars. This girl turned out to be the 9-year-old who had gone missing from a neighboring town 10 years earlier. For an entire decade, she had been confined to that small, filthy room, so severely tortured that she was left unrecognizable and unable to stand. In early 1999, the Kashiwazaki Public Health Center in Niigata Prefecture received a plea for help from a mother. She told staff that she suspected her son, Nobuyuki Sato, had developed mental illness, as she had suffered his abuse for years. Now elderly and frail, she could no longer endure his torment and begged the center to take him away for treatment. That December, after receiving her request, the health center forcibly took Nobuyuki to a hospital. His mother hoped for a brief respite, but within days, doctors declared him mentally sound and sent him home. Upon returning, Nobuyuki became even more violent. Unable to bear it, his mother called the health center again for help. On January 28, 2001, the deputy director of the health center personally led a team to Nobuyuki's home to take him into custody. He was watching TV in the second-floor room, so staff went upstairs. To their shock, upon entering, they not only found panicked Nobuyuki, but also faintly heard a girl crying. Following the sound, they noticed a futon on the tatami floor, and something was moving beneath it. The deputy director, puzzled, approached to lift the futon but found its corners sewn to the floor. Staff quickly retrieved scissors and cut it open, revealing a barely clothed, trembling girl. Realizing the situation, they restrained Nobuyuki and called the police. Officers arrived to find a bruised, malodorous girl cowering in a corner. A preliminary examination showed she weighed under 38 kilograms and couldn't even stand. Meanwhile, Nobuyuki was pinned down by health center staff, while his mother stood frozen in shock. Police took both into custody and hospitalized the girl. After extensive communication, the girl finally revealed her name, Fusako Sano. This stunned investigators. It matched a decade-old missing persons case. Police recalled that Fusako's family lived in Sanjo City, 50 kilometers from Kashiwazaki. Since second grade, she had walked to and from school alone. On November 13, 1990, she didn't return home. Fusako usually arrived by 6 p.m., but by 6:30, there was no sign of her. Worried, her parents retraced her route and called her teacher and friends' families, all unaware of her whereabouts. By 7:45 p.m., they reported her missing. Despite a massive search, the lack of surveillance and witnesses left the case unsolved. For 10 years, Fusako's parents plastered missing posters and scoured streets, never giving up. Now, DNA tests confirmed the girl in Nobuyuki's room was their daughter. At the police station, Nobuyuki admitted to abducting Fusako in 1990 and imprisoning her for a decade. On November 13, 1990, Fusako walked home alone as usual. Around 5 p.m., as she strolled along the highway, a car suddenly pulled up beside her. Nobuyuki stepped out, pressed a knife to her chest, and threatened her into silence. She had never encountered such a terrifying thing before. After observing that there was no one around, he stuffed her into the trunk of the car, then fled away. Once home, while his mother was out shopping, he took Fusako to his second-floor room. He forbade his mother from going upstairs, and silenced Fusako with beatings or tape over her mouth, hands, and feet whenever he left. He even installed surveillance cameras to monitor her. For 10 years, Nobuyuki used Fusako as a tool for his sadistic pleasure, terrorizing, beating, and assaulting her every day. He threatened her that if she didn't comply with him, he would hurt her family. This inhumane treatment had caused serious physical and mental trauma to her. Malnutrition left her skeletal. Lack of sunlight turned her skin ghostly pale. Muscles atrophied, and she could barely walk. What's more horrifying, her prison was windowless, reeking of mold and waste. She bathed only 3 times in 10 years, wore Nobuyuki's old clothes, and lived amid her own filth. Forced to record horse races for him, mistakes earned electrocutions or beatings, over 1,000 documented instances. So why he did the horrible things to the little girl? Why didn't his parents stop his imprisonment during these 10 years? Nobuyuki Sato was born in 1962 into a middle-class family in Kashiwazaki City. However, his family situation was somewhat unusual. The year he was born, his father was already 62 years old while his mother was 35. Perhaps due to treasuring their late-life child, his parents indulged him. This excessive pampering caused him to grow up lacking any sense of responsibility or self-control from an early age. When other children could already go to school independently, he still relied on his parents for everything. From childhood onward, whatever he wanted, regardless of whether it was appropriate or useful, his parents would satisfy his demands. This spoiled Nobuyuki encountered his first life obstacle in elementary school. In children's eyes, someone in their 60s was already grandparent, while his father was even over 60. This made him frequently subject to ridicule from his peers. Having never experienced such exclusion and bullying before, Nobuyuki, who couldn't gain respect at school, began taking out his anger on his family. Beyond throwing tantrums, he learned to use violence. But his parents chose compromise and indulgence. As he grew older, Nobuyuki's father became elder and helpless to control his son, while his mother only knew how to appease him to keep him happy. This parental failure led Nobuyuki to believe violence could solve everything. Over time, his violent tendencies grew increasingly pathological. His mother once took him to see a doctor, who diagnosed Nobuyuki with a severe violent tendency and mental illness, recommending immediate treatment. But rather than seeking professional help, these parents tried to reform their son through their own apologies and indulgence. The results were predictable, only made him more unrestrained. In 1981, his long-retired father could no longer endure his domestic violence and moved to a nursing home. After his father left, only his mother remained living with him. But she was even less capable of controlling him, instead frequently suffering his abuse. Despite her advanced age, she was often beaten. After graduating high school, Nobuyuki worked at an auto repair shop. The harsh working conditions and meager pay created tremendous psychological gap for him. Soon, he quit and returned home to live off his mother. However, Nobuyuki differed from other NET. He had a particular obsession. He would often stay at home secretly browsing photos of young girls. Gradually, his psychology became increasingly crazy, and his personality grew more bad. In 1990, Nobuyuki noticed that Fusako Sano always walked home from school alone. To satisfy his perversion, he first conducted long-term observation of her daily routine. After mastering her route, he implemented his evil plan. During her 10 years of captivity, Fusako selectively forgot almost everything, except her own name. Perhaps she still hoped to escape from this monster. Later, when Fusako was rescued and reunited with her parents, she no longer recognized them. Similarly, her parents could hardly believe their once lively, cheerful daughter had suffered so much. To avoid further traumatizing their child, Fusako's parents could only hide their sorrow. No one knew how they had endured those 10 years without their daughter. Nor could anyone imagine the pain and anguish they felt seeing their once happy daughter reduced to such a state. When this case was exposed, it immediately caused a nationwide sensation in Japan. The public universally demanded the death penalty for Nobuyuki Sato. Many also suspected his mother might be an accomplice. After all, how could she not notice an extra person in the house? Especially since she had sometimes prepared meals for 2 during that period. However, the mother firmly denied all this. She claimed she had never gone upstairs and was completely unaware of a third person. Once when she noticed a foul odor coming from the 2nd floor and offered to clean it, her son refused and became violent. After that, she never dared mention it again. After Fusako regained her senses, she also stated she had never seen Nobuyuki's mother. Combined with police finding no fingerprints of the mother upstairs, authorities ruled out her complicity. At trial, faced with his crimes, Nobuyuki had the audacity to claim he never intended to harm Fusako Sano, that he treated her as a friend. This explanation was laughable. To satisfy his own desires, he had treated Fusako as a worthless tool. How dare him to use friend to describe everything? In the end, Nobuyuki Sato was sentenced to 14 years in prison. According to online reports, the then 52-year-old was released in April 2015. This mere 14-year sentence could never begin to compensate for the suffering he inflicted on Fusako Sano. We can only hope that poor girl could save herself and begin a new, better life. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this case, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow Case Diaries. There are plenty more cases coming your way. Got thoughts on today's story? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. See you in the next one.